Assalamu alaikum. This is chapter 3 in our course Creativity in Business. The title of the chapter is Theories of Creativity and the Creative Problem Solving Process. We will introduce different, not all actually, some of the theories of creativity and how we will concentrate on how human brain works and how can we explain creativity. Let's see the main outline of the chapter. The whole brain model for Roger Sperry, of course, the famous one, and Herman model, not Herman, Wallace model for four processes of creativity, the difference between divergent and convergent thinking, and some theories of creative problem solving and conditions of creative thinking. Some emphasis, some concentration on the cognitive theory of creativity, which is about information, how brains process information. And then in the end of the chapter, we will have 2 points here about a suggested model for creative problem solving. Let's go quickly. I'm not gonna give details about each theory I'm introducing in the chapter. I will quickly review classical theories of how brains work. Of course, we start by Professor Roger Sperry, his seminal work about how a brain works. His experiments on brains showed that, or provided great results about how the left side of the brain work and the right side. What each half of the brain is responsible for. The left one is used for logical thinking, judgment, and mathematical reasoning, while the right one is the emotional part. Right is the source of dreaming, feeling, visualization, and intuition. After that came Herman, who suggested that we don't have, it's better that we explain how brain work through 4-quadrant, not 2 halves model. And then came Wallace after that, introduced completing this work of Herman by suggesting 4 processes for these close to these 4 halves, 4 quadrants, 4 processes for them. Let's see what Herman suggested here, or the notion of Herman. Herman suggests that we have upper half, which is the cerebral, and lower half, these two, which is the limbic part of the brain, and we have right half and left half. So then we have 4 quadrants. He gives colors for them. The yellow one is analytical part of the brain. Okay, so it's the upper left of the brain is analytical, while the upper right is the creative part, which is yellowish, yellow color. The lower left is organized thinking types of people, or this is the part which is about organized thinking, and the lower right, it's about the interpersonal part of the brain. Let's see more details about that. The 4 parts with their colors like this. As you see here, we have the upper mode and we have the lower mode. We have the right half and the left half, as we see. So the upper left is the logical part, so the logical, analytical, fact-based, quantitative processes of the brain, while the lower left is organized, sequential, planned, detailed way of thinking. The top or the upper right is about the holistic, intuitive, integrating and synthesizing processes of the brain, while the lower right is about processes related to interpersonal, feeling-based, kinesthetic and emotional processes of the brain. Another slide to show that, and let's look at this small picture in the top right corner of this slide. As we see, according to Herman, he suggests that people have some orientation. Their minds have some orientation. Some people are yellow. Some people are blue, as here. So their upper left side of the brain is more active than the others. And we have some people are green, green part, which according to Herman hypothesized that their lower left is more active and their brain is more organized and sequential, planned and detailed. Some people are red, which is feeling based and emotional oriented, and some people are yellow, which is more creative and integrating, intuitive types of brains. Another slide that give more details about Herman. The 4 quadrant with letters A, B, D, C, like this. This is the upper left, lower left, upper right and lower right, like here. The upper is cerebral, upper here is cerebral, right and left, and so on, the same as we introduced in the previous slide. Some person, according to Herman, are predominantly A quadrant thinkers, which means that they prefer organizing information in a framework. Let's go back to the picture here. The A1 is like this. So they prefer, those persons that are more oriented toward this quadrant of the brain, they are prefer organizing information in a framework, listening, reading, studying, doing scientific research, and so on. B thinkers ones, let's see the B thinkers. The B thinkers are here, which is the green color. B thinkers try practical uses for knowledge, learned, planning projects, new skills, etc. C thinkers are very organized and precise, while D thinkers take overall view of topics, ponder on solution, enjoy while ideas experiment, rely on intuition rather than on logics. It is suggested by Herman that D thinkers are more creative than the other oriented, the 3 oriented quadrant. After Herman came another scientist, another researcher, Graham Wallace. He suggested that the A quadrant thinking, or he suggested that thinking go through 4 stages. Preparation, stage number 1, incubation, illumination, and then verification. Preparation, which happens in quadrant A in Herman model. Brain define the problem, gather information, and set criteria for the solution. Incubation, which is D. You see, D here is in the upper right. So brain start with A and then go to D. So in D, a person or the brain, this quadrant of the brain, step back from the problem and let our minds contemplate and work it through. Then after that, quadrant C, start the illumination process. So let's see quadrant C here. Quadrant C is here. So start with A and then D and then C. right? So C, it's the elimination quadrant, here where the ideas arise, solutions are found from the mind to provide the basis for creative response. Then in the end, implementation part in the verification, which is quadrant B, does its job. It demonstrates whether or not what emerged here in C satisfy the need and the criteria defined in the preparation stage in the previous one. So this is the work of Graham Wallace, completing, extending work of Herman here. So far we have introduced Roger Sperry, Herman, and then Wallace. After that, we need to introduce another important notion in thinking, is the distinction between divergent and convergent thinking. We have two types of thinking here. Divergent, it's like here, this one in the picture. It involves a broad search for decision options with respect to a problem for which there is no unique answer. So it's usually come in the problem definition phase, where your mind go in different broad areas. You dig everywhere, here and there, right? So it's called divergent one, تباعدي. While convergent, you dig in one spot. You are thinking in one solution, unique one, to meet the prescribed criteria that is sought to solve the problem. We may use both of them. We start with this one, and then when we find a solution, we try to verify and elaborate by using the convergent one. They both contribute to the gaining of creative insight, as we see here. More details about divergent and convergent here. As you see, this is a divergent one. It's called as well vertical thinking. It digs the same it's about the the divergent is called the lateral thinking, is concerned with digging a hole in another place. So you are digging holes in different places, while the convergent thinking is called the vertical thinking. It digs same hole deeper in order to have better elaborated, detailed version of the problem or solution we are looking for. A divergent approach can be used on the way to a convergent solution, as we see in our notes in here. Let's go to the one after that. Okay, there is a difference between creative problem solving and routine problem solving. In routine problem solving, يعني احنا we try to go through logical sequential steps, using extending what we already know to find a solution for a problem. While in creativity, we don't rely only on routine ones. We don't rely on ready-made solution, previous one. We try to find something new. Routine problem are good ones for routine. Routine problem solving is good for routine problems. Whenever you want something quick, something could be more practical for smaller problem. However, in complicated problems, newer ones never have no precedent trying solving them. We need different way of thinking, which is called creativity problem solving methods. Let's complete the theories we have started in our chapter. We have a few notions or frameworks to explain how creativity show up or present. In the previous theories we have introduced, we've been talking about or discussing how brain work, Okay, now we will talk about how creative acts or ideas show up or present. The first notion we have is that creativity comes by grace. It's a trait. It's a gift from God. Only genius people may have creative ideas. It only for artists, musicians, and so on. And we talked about this in chapter 1. So grace is one of the theories that explain creativity here. This is the only theory for explaining creativity? No. We have other ones like accident. I'm sorry for the picture here, just to, it's a comic relief for you. Accident means that it's not a grace, it's not a divine gift from God. It happened by chance, you know. It's inspiration. It comes like you while you are relaxed, and the idea comes from something new that you don't know. Actually, it's just inspiration. We have examples like this. I'll give more examples like how smallpox vaccination has been invented. It came by accident, by chance. Radioactivity from wrong hypothesis. While doing research, it came by chance that they discovered radioactivity. These are documented events or accidents happen, and they were creative ones. Two theories we have so far, or notions about explaining creativity: grace and accident. Number 3 we have is association, and this is a little bit popular theory. In creativity, we try to find relations, we try to associate, we try to apply procedures that work in some area and make it happen in another one. So this is another theory, underlies the justification for many divergent thinking techniques such as lateral thinking and brainstorming. So in brainstorming and in lateral thinking, we try to find ideas from wide, far areas and apply them in problem in hand. So this is association, number 3. So grace, accident, association, and then number 4, cognitive, and we will talk about them later on in details. It's creativity according to cognitive notion. It views creativity come from some classical cognitive processes, how brain process information. It uses cognitive processes like recognition, reasoning, and understanding, and we will talk about them in the following video, inshallah, the second part of this chapter. Number 5, personality. Creativity is highly related to your traits, your personality. Creativity is a state of mind. Creative people, they have some traits. They can break mental barriers, blocks we discussed and explained in chapter 2. They can remove them and deal with them, and they can deal with emotions, avoid those emotions that reject them from thinking. They have courage, they take risk. So it's about personality, actually, about personality. So this is another explanation for creativity for humans. We will stop at that part of the chapter, and then we will talk after that about the cognitive theory. The number 4 here, we will give details starting from next video, inshallah, about the cognitive theory of creativity. It views creativity as a type of information process and how our brain and memory works and find new idea. Thank you.